I made 20 copies of this little handout. You know, I figured, oh, you know, I'll probably have some left over. Now I gotta like actually show up. You know, in my somatic body, I'm like a little bit like, ooh, this is happening. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have all of you here, and some of you good faces that I've met already. I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of you at some point. So, my name is James Hummocky. I also go by Silas Villalobos. That's a kind of a working name and a stage. I don't get on stage, but it's a stage name, right? Alias. That's when I don't want people to really know who I am, and I can just be a freak. And I started out my most recent career about 20 years ago as a massage therapist. And then over the years, what I did is through a lot of studies and then through a lot of self-work, I came deeply into this realm of somatics, right? Which is kind of a nebulous term in some ways. People are like, what the hell is somatics, right? Well, it's your whole body. It's everything from the top down. It's the brain and the nervous system and all the biologicals and the neurobiologicals and the chemicals. And the way I've come to understand it, the way I've come to work with it, is also this interconnectedness with other people and with the earth and, you know, with the greater Wa that is, whatever you want to call that. So in the development of my career, I started with like, okay, I'm doing a lot of self-study, and then I'm like, well, I want to start using this with my clients. I started using it with my clients, and then I'm starting to teach classes, and then all of a sudden, I'm what I call myself as a somatic pleasure coach. So I work with people from a perspective of pleasure, using sensation-based awareness, and we'll talk about what that is in a minute, using the tools of somatics to come into more authentic embodiment. Now, does that sound freaking cool or what? No idea what it means, but you know, it sounds great, and it looks good on a website. So, does anybody, I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are either familiar with somatics or are somatic practitioners, right? Raise your hands, people like, I'm not, okay, good, I'm talking to a lot of people that know what they're talking about. So, for me, the idea of it is that if we want to make actual changes in our lives, right, and like come into that place of more authenticity, you can also call it sovereignty or enlightenment or self-actualization. One of the things we need to do is bypass the stories and the emotional labeling and come right into the sensations in the body. Because for me, that's a place where you made it the only place you can actually tell the truth about something, right? My heart is beating fast or slow. My stomach is churning. I feel cold. These are things that you can actually say for certainty that you know, right? Once you translate that sensation into an emotion, then you lose a little bit of, it gets a little fuzzy, because anger and pleasure can actually feel very similar inside, right? Eroticism and, well, not depression, but probably, but, eroticism and anger also. I mean, they have these similar, very, very similar pathways in the body. So, once you get to the emotional labeling, you're kind of losing one. And then once you start blaming the story, right, you're like, okay, now this is why I feel that way. You've lost another level of truth telling, right? And you can get really caught in that. And I don't want to get caught in this part of the lecture either. So, So instead of like going, okay, well, there's your trauma, let's attack your trauma, and then we'll get down to the sensation. This is a way of coming up and out and mirroring that, or using the tools of kink and BDSM can help both heighten that and clarify that, but also this practice through using the somatics can actually open your perception and your sensation and your experience of these more sensual, kink, BDSM, erotic realms as well. So that's the basis of this class. How's that sound? Does that make any sense at all? So the first thing that the 4 tools that I use with Somatic, that I use, and this is what I call the foundation, but I'm sure it's pretty much the same for everybody, is breath, movement, touch, and mindfulness. So I just want to say one thing about mindfulness. You know, that's called mindfulness meditation, right? Well, meditation can mean a lot of things. For me, mindfulness is just being present in every moment, just coming right into the body and feeling the heel of your foot touch the ground, right? Feeling the movements in your body, feeling the breath moving through your body, and feeling the outside ambiance as it's informing your body. So to me, breath is a foundational movement, as well as the tool itself. It's really beautiful because automatically we breathe, right? Obviously, we don't have to think about it. But when we do think about it, it's one of the functions in the body that we have the most control over, and that we can actually use to change our states on a pretty rapid level. Okay. So we're going to go through an exercise right now, a very simple breath exercise. It's called coherent breathing. Other people call it heart breath, or it's diaphragmatic breath. It's the way we actually need to breathe, right? So a lot of times people are breathing way up here in the chest, very shallow, and what that does is it actually turns on the anxiety button, right? When you're breathing that way. Moshe Feldenkrais, he says, there is no posture without emotion, and no emotion without posture. Meaning that the way we move our body affects our emotional or inner state, and vice versa. So we're going to practice this. Probably should have a clock, but I don't. So it's very simple, and there's a lot of, if you look online, there's a lot of other instruction around it. I'm just gonna try to keep this really simple. So all it is breathing through the nose, and you're basically counting to 5 for the inhale, counting to 5 for the exhale. Somewhere between 5 and 6 is considered like perfect breath, whatever that means, right? The scientists. It's research. So all you're going to do is you're just going to sit or stand. You can do this laying down. You can do this when you're going to bed. You can do it in the car, because it's not one of the kind of breath that's going to like make you pass out, right? Or it's not going to change you that way. But it is a very calming breath. It is a great way to break that cycle, like if you're in that mental cycle where you're just constantly thinking too. It helps bring you right back into the body, right back into the presence, okay? So it's not a deep breath, so you're not like, it's actually a slow, you're just slowing the breath down. You're taking about the same volume of air, you're just doing it slower, okay? So I'm gonna count you through a few rounds, and then you're gonna do it on your own. If you leave with any one thing from this session here, leave with this one. Okay, this is the foundation of just about everything. All right, so we ready? Oh yeah, that'd be great. Just want to see like how well my counting is. So here we go. We're going to inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now on your own, maybe paying attention to the movement of air over your upper lip as you breathe. If you lose count, don't worry about it. If the mind starts going, come back to the count. And we're just going to do a few more rounds here. It's okay if it's not exactly 5 seconds. See if you can feel your belly expanding on the inhale. And feel your whole body relax on the exhale. Your jaw, your tongue, your eyes, your pelvis. And as you feel ready, coming back, letting your eyes slowly open. So just kind of popcorn style, if you have like a one-word or short description of some sensation of change in your body, you can shout it out or raise your hand.
Posture was changing.
Oh, okay. Posture. Okay, I got that.
Calm.
Feel calmer? Yeah.
Release. Present.
Melting. Melting.
Melty. That's a good one. I like that. So in the folder, and I'm sorry that everybody doesn't have a copy of the folder. Like I said, at the end of the class, give me your email. I have a Google Doc thing that you can get, and it's actually an expanded one, and it has these exercises in it. So just let me know if you want that. But in the folder, there is a list of words. Does somebody have one that I can just borrow real quick? Because I can't really, I should have had it on. So sensations, right? When we talk about sensations, a lot of times we default into an emotional description. You know, how are you feeling? Happy. But that's not a sensation, right? That's an emotion, or that's a description of something else. So in this, we have, you know, so you have like these categories. So relaxed, airy, calm, floating, flowing, lax, light, mellow, still, right? Then like on high discomfort, you have achy, bruised. I know there's somebody in here who feels bruised. Broken, burning, heavy, icy, nauseous, you know, agitated, frantic, frozen, hot, intense, itchy, jittery. These are just words that actually describe an inner state as opposed to an emotional state, right? And you're not saying, my mom pissed me off. That's, you know, that's a story, right? That's not an inner state. I remember when I was 5 what happened then. So this is the place where I really like to start, like, and moving into like kink play. If you can actually pay attention to these sensations in the body, right, you can actually begin to open up your experience of whatever kind of play you're having. And what you can actually start doing is beginning to understand where your boundaries are, where your 100% fuck yeses are, right? Where your 100% fuck nos are, and you can actually speak into that. And you can know that. You're actually developing intuition, you could say, right? You're saying, okay, when this happens, this is the feeling in my body, and when I have that feeling, I know this is good for me, or I know this is safe, or vice versa, right? This is not good for me, this is not safe. And that's really, really obviously important in this kind of world because consent. And consent requires knowing your boundaries, okay? Also, through we're gonna do another breath work. Through these, I'm gonna give this back to you.
Oh, you're fine. I took pictures of it just in case.
Oh, okay. All right. See all this technology, right? Also, it can heighten your, these breath and movement, and this place of mindfulness can actually heighten your experience of any kind of play, sex, eating dinner, driving the car, wrestling, walking on the beach, right? These things can actually really, you can get a lot more out of it. There's like 11 million bits of information coming into our body any given second, and that's just by some dude's calculation, whether that's true or not. But the point is this body is feeling and sensing a whole lot of stuff all the time. And these are ways of opening that perception up, right? You can also do that taking psychedelics, but you might not want to walk around all day like that, you know what I mean? So we're going to come into this other breath. It's I call it various things, but it's a round of 21 breaths, and they're quick breaths and they're deep breaths. And we're going to do it through the nose, but you could do it through the mouth. It's just a little bit of a different experience. It changes the state of the body differently if you're breathing through the mouth, right? That tends to activate the autonomic nervous system, and you come into a more agitated state. When you're breathing through the nose, you come into a more calm state. Either way. So the first thing we're going to, let me explain the breath work. We're going to do 21 of these breaths. Oh. I don't know how to breathe. So you'll do that 21 times, and on the 22nd time, you'll hold that breath. So up to about 15 seconds, really paying attention to what's happening in the body. If you want to, you can actually contract the floor of the pelvis, right? Around the genitals, just contract up a little bit. You don't have to. We could get really complicated with this, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. So we're going to do around the 21 breaths. The hold, you're going to exhale, and you're going to hold at the bottom, okay? Does that make sense?
The contraction is at that 22nd breath time.
When you take that 22nd breath, you can hold it. What's that?
It's not each breath.
No, yeah, you want to kind of do these breaths, with the body relaxed. But the first thing we're going to do is take a second, get calm, get settled, close your eyes, and check in with your energetic body. What is your energy like? So now, if you're doing this with a partner and you're coming into an intimate session, you might say, this is my sexual energy. But if you're just by yourself and you're just wanting to breathe, this might be agitated energy, it might be calm energy. You're just measuring your energy on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? And just knowing that you're going to come into a more stasis place. And that might mean it feels higher from where you started, or it might mean that it feels lower from where you started, right? If you're angry and agitated and you want to bring that energy down, this is a way to do that. If you're coming into an intimate situation and you want to bring that energy up, this is a good way to do that. It's sort of perception. So we're going to do 3 rounds of that. 21 breaths, the breath hold, the exhale, and then immediately go into 21 breaths. Okay? I'm not going to count. You need to count for yourself because it's just going to be too hard to count. I'll make a video. So, yes. It's okay. And I'm going to let everybody count their own. Okay. So, when we get ready, everybody, any other questions? Get settled, and here we go. We're going to start inhaling. Keep going. Inhaling and holding at the top on the 22nd. Inhaling and holding at the top. Up to about 10 or 15 seconds. And then exhaling slowly and holding at the bottom. Now immediately go right back into the breath. If you feel too lightheaded, you can stop and just take a regular breath. If you lose count, just take it. If you feel like you're right at about 22, take a nice deep breath and hold it at the top. And just gently exhaling and holding at the bottom. And again, on your own, when you're ready, go right back into the breath. You know you're building excitement, or you're calming the nervous system one way or the other. Keep it going. Try to hit those 21 breaths right at the top. Inhaling deep. Bandha, the root chakra, floor of the pelvis, kegels. And when you feel ready, exhaling slowly and holding at the bottom. Now go right back into the coherent breath, just that gentle diaphragmatic breathing. And assess your inner state from where you started to where you are now. When you're ready, coming back into the room, opening your eyes again. Quick. How did your energy change? Did you notice anything specific? Anything special? Anything new?
Yeah, deeper, sunken deeper.
And then, you know, when you say it went deeper, was that like after you started breathing, and then it just went deeper?
Yeah.
So that's a really important point right there. Is, you know, oftentimes you start into this breath and everything kind of feels tight. I often feel like a real band around my diaphragm, and then after, you know, about halfway through the second round, usually I'm like, and then like there's this breath that opens up. So that's another reason to do this, because it actually exercises the diaphragm and helps you get a deeper breath, which is just kind of good for you. So I'm going to pass these pinwheels around, called Wharton wheels. They may look really dangerous. The ones that actually feel better are the ones with more wheels. So what you do with them? I'll show you what you do with them. These you run over your skin. You know. Now you don't have to do this. There's a few other things. The reason I'm bringing in the here, I'm going to pass out a couple of other things, and these can just kind of get passed around. And this is super fluffy and soft.
Is that like the mink glove?
What's that?
Remember the old
Oh yeah,
mink
yeah,
glove?
the mink
Yeah.
gloves. Yeah, I love those things. Here, we can use some fuzzy nipple clamps so you can like. All right. You just run them on your body, and what I want you to do is go into that diaphragmatic breathing. Feel the sensations on your body from these things, and I want these back. You guys don't get to eat. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there you go. And that's a really beautiful place to be, right? I mean, because this kind of breathing, especially the 21 breaths, right, really do open up that sensory perception. And then when you're going into play, you've got another whole level to work with and enjoy, right? So if you're gonna get flogged, so yeah, use it a little bit and then pass it around if you would. I'm definitely not going to get into all of this stuff here. What time is it? So are there any questions at this point? Hello. Come back in here. Do I have any questions? Yes.
I had a question just like in regarding like somatic kink when I was reading about it, about the subconscious things that we do that are kink,
Oh.
somatic kink.
Uh-huh.
Like
A little bit more about that?
the things that we're insistent upon that we get off on. Or like the subconscious things of whether it's an abuse history or like an attachment to a dysfunctional relationship.
Right.
The things that we find some kind of subconscious pleasure in somatically
Right.
that we don't always talk about, or that we don't even acknowledge.
Or we don't even acknowledge, right? That's just dangerous. So there's a really good book. It's called called The Erotic Mind. Yeah. So it talks about the core erotic theme, and this is a little bit within the topic, but basically the trauma, if you will, that you experienced it can be or is also the basis for your most deep, dark, erotic desire, right? And so one of the things that when I'm working with people is to get to desire, right? And know that desire is okay. Desire is something that happens. It just happens. Now, do you have to act on every desire? No. But you have to recognize that you're having it. So when we're pushing that desire down, whatever that is, and it can be really lightweight or it can be really dark, right? I mean, if you are so pissed off that you feel like you want to kill somebody, okay, I feel that. Am I going to do it? Probably not. I hope not.
Hopefully not.
I don't want to do that really.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah.
So a lot of the meaning making that we make about the stories, our bodies are not experiencing experiencing it in that way, right? So you were talking about arousal being, it could be anger, it could be excitement, and so like, when you think about those things, the body's just experiencing arousal, so that's why sometimes these napping can be experienced in that way, and it can be a kink.
And it can,
Really cool.
kink can be a really great way of like opening that up and, you know, like in a safe place, actually experiencing what it is to beat somebody up or be beat up, you know what I mean? Without having to like really get too hurt. Let's see, now I'm up. So, is there anything else going on with this? Anybody else have any? Yes?
Two things. First of all, what is this?
Well, actually, that's a calligraphy brush, and that's what they use to they use that to put glue. That's my understanding of it. I just found it on a really cool site, and I can't remember, like they make specialty brushes, and I'm actually waiting to get one of those big Horsetail, like a big, like. So what I do with that is do this kind of sensations play, but then also in some of my work, in the more pleasure work, I use that to spread oil on people's bodies. It's nice. It's nice. We do this whole thing where we oil the table together, then I oil your body, then we ooh.
This is very nice. Okay.
Yeah. But you know, the funny thing is like anything can be eroticized, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anything can become, what do they call it? A pervertible, right? A spatula.
I was going to say that when you're doing the breathing, I actually incorporated a lot of like tantra things.
Yes.
I was moving the chakras between, you know, like yoni to heart and all of that, and so that was like really cool because then that built that whole energy up, and so.
I mean, that's another whole subject, right? When we start getting into tantra or Tao sexology, that kind of a thing, and yeah, it's a beautiful. I'm trying to keep it simple in here, but there's a whole thing around the microcosmic orbit and really moving energy. So the next thing I want to do, as far as like coming into some more somatic practices, okay? I want to get your bodies moving. But we're gonna do a very simple thing. Actually, we're gonna all, if everybody's okay with it, lay down on the floor on your back. Everyone okay with that? And if you're not, it's totally okay. We can probably modify this for sitting in a chair. And we can push the chairs out a little bit. This is one of my favorites. I got this from my ex-girlfriend. And make sure that I get my implements back. I brought my own. I have spent a lot of money on this thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a really big So what? I think the one what you're gonna do? You're gonna bend your knees, put your feet on the floor. I'm good. I'm gonna I'll stand up on the table. No, back a little bit. We're all good. Oh, where's my lighter? Oh, is that your lighter? Yeah. Right, because mine's black. All right, so this is what I want you to imagine. Your sacrum, okay? And your sacrum is like a clock. 12 o'clock, it doesn't really matter about the numbers, but I'm just saying, 12 o'clock, is towards your tailbone or towards your feet, okay? That would make 6 o'clock towards your head. Make sense? So what you're going to do is you're going to, in this position, you're going to tilt your sacrum towards 12 o'clock. Just tilt it towards 12 o'clock. And now tilt it back towards 6 o'clock. And just slowly do that. And then we're going to add in some other things here in a minute. This is not an exercise class. So we're not working out here. You're doing this slow. You're doing this sensually. You're undulating. Thinking about opening the muscles and the floor of the pelvis. Okay? Trying to, or actually paying attention to the rest of your body and seeing if you can let your jaw relax while you're doing this. See if you can feel your feet on the floor. Now, we're going to switch it up. Start moving from side to side. From 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Not rocking. What you're doing is trying to keep your knees and your legs in one position and really isolate that sacrum. And now to really fuck you up, see if you can do your diaphragmatic breathing at the same time. And pay attention to the sensations in your body at the same time. Get present. This is what it's all about. If you want to have better sex, get better in your body. Feel it.
Are you still going side to side?
Yes, if that's what you want to do.
Oh.
But yeah. Isolating as much as you can without making it a workout session. Don't tighten up your shoulders trying to make your hips move. It's bad for blowjobs. And cunnilingus. It's bad for all of them. So now, coming back to stillness, and just breathe into the body, feel into your hips. Now what I want you to start doing is rotating clockwise or counterclockwise if you want to. You can do anything you want, but clockwise just to make it easy for the class. Rotating, really see if you can keep the rest of your body still, not rigid, just still, and isolate that movement in your pelvis. We're using the sacrum as a landing pad for actually opening the pelvis and the floor of the pelvis. Releasing the low back. This is what's happening physiologically, right? It is affecting the vagus nerve, which affects the inner state of your being, brings you into more calm. Go slow, be subtle. If you're sitting down, I actually have there's another way of doing this that is really cool, and that's if you think about the perineum, that little place between your butt and your balls, if you have balls, I mean, we're just like thinking of that. The perineum there, and you're contracting forward towards your vagina or your genitals, and you're contracting backwards towards your anus, and then you contract towards the sides. And you actually can really learn how to isolate, and it's really powerful. So clockwise, pay attention to where you feel the little hiccups and the clicks and I can't get past that spot. And slow it down. Slow it down a little bit. Make it more subtle. And really feel that isolation. And when you're ready, switch directions, whichever direction you were going counterclockwise. This is good for men and women, or male bodies and female bodies, or shit. All bodies. I get it. God, I get it. I'm still sometimes just an old white man. I know. Grew up in the oil fields.
I do too, so. Yeah.
Called someone young lady last night. I was like, oh, jeez. Wrong context.
Was it me?
That could happen. So now just come into stillness and just come into your coherent breathing. Just feel into your body. Just feel the experience of this. These things are really, really simple, but they're really, really powerful. You know? And you can do these things at any, I do it when I'm driving, like move my hips around, like, you know? It helps me like something, it helps me something. But I like it. My hips and belt has actually become more fluid and released as I've gotten older. It's kind of amazing because I've been doing this stuff.
If you entered that with, it makes me a better Dom, we would all be doing it in our cars.
Okay. It does.
There you go.
It makes me better in a lot of ways. So then when you're, yeah, just take a couple more breaths and then come back to sitting, or come back to your chairs. We're going to come back into the circle. Did everybody go to sleep? Is that
Bring one leg and do the other straight. Using your toe forward.
It rolls around your way.
I don't want to do what I say. No, it's just like different ways of getting around. I saw you grab that.
okay? So let's do a little check-in. How's everybody doing? What was your experience of that? Okay. How about a sensation word?
Tingly.
Tingly? That's a really good sensation word, yes. Clear. Huh? Clear. I thought you said clear. Clear. That's the way to do it? Yeah, you know, it's really funny, the effect that opening the pelvis in that way can have on our inner state, right? It really does affect the nervous system, and does bring clarity, because I think partially it brings blood into your blood flow, brings awareness to what's going on. Anything else? Any questions? Any?
Juicy as fuck. Like,
All right.
I don't know about nobody.
You get an A. You get an A. Well, I will say that I have a former partner that she practiced this for a long time, just basically this for a long time because she wanted to open up, more space, not physical space, but like this energetic space. And she got to the point where she could actually have orgasms.
Oh,
through
we
this.
would live a little longer.
Okay.
Question about like,
Hang on just a second. We got a question.
like, doesn't take much. Okay, you mentioned your partner, right? So how would you have any tips or anything around like how would you guide your partner?
Okay.
Person you're playing with?
Right. Yeah. So one of the question is how would you do this with a partner, or how would you help guide a partner through this, right? Well, first off, you just teach them that. You say like, here's your sacrum. Like, this is your sacrum. Use that as a base, and let's just start opening up the pelvis, right? And then that diaphragmatic breathing, that slow breathing, that coherent breath, bringing that in at the same time, right? That opens that up. And then what I would do, and this is actually where I first ran into the 21 breath thing, right? Is you can do that together with intention. We're going into an intimate practice, or we're gonna have some intimacy. Let's sit down and do this together and raise our desire levels, or find our desire levels, And it actually is really beautiful. You can do it face to face. You can do it in a yab yum. Does everybody know what yab yum is? You don't know what yab yum is? No. Do I have a volunteer to be with me? You want to? Okay, sure. So yab yum is generally one person. You gonna do this? Who's gonna do this? Okay.
That's what I was thinking, that's funny.
So this is yab yum. It is yum yum. Okay, y'all, the class is over. One way to do it. You can also do it back to back. Or you can do it sitting in chairs, looking at each other. You can do it with your eyes closed. But the point is, if you're with a partner, is to just do some of these simple practices together. And it really does enhance the experience, whatever that experience is. Okay? You can do it in the bathtub, you can do it in the jacuzzi, right? And the thing is, we're keeping it pretty simple, just because it's hard timing. Yeah, it's hard to explain. But like with the breath work, there's hundreds of ways of breathing that have very specific effects on your inner state. Some that bring you way up, some that bring you way down, some that keep you even, some that are just physically good for you. There's a really good book called Breath. I was trying to remember, is it breath or breathe? No, it was Breath, by this guy named James Nestor, and he's done a really great job at researching breathing and the physiological effects. It's actually a really well researched, probably the best one that I've read in a long time. And it's not couched in like, the pseudo-spiritual stuff or anything like that. It's just really good breathing. Or you could read, oh God, what's the name of that one? It's all the Kundalini breathwork stuff, the pranayamas. Oh my God. That gets intense. Anyway, very simple, very simple. There was another exercise that I wanted to do. What I need is for everybody to get an object. And if you don't have an object, I've got object, something that kind of fits in your hand. Not a big object, but it could be a big object. It really doesn't matter. You know, just something that you can hold in your hand. Here, I've got some. What's that? Oh, I think, if you guys still have the clock?
No, the clock's circulating.
Oh, it's circulating? So, yeah, or grab something. It doesn't really matter what it is. You have a, you want something? No. Everybody needs to have their own object. Everybody needs to have their own object.
You got the Bible on the door.
Sometimes these exercises are so simple. I feel a little bit like I need to make it more complicated, you know, so it sounds cool. But okay, let's bring it down. I need to have some attention. I love this conference, man. Okay, so what we're going to do is part of one of the tools of somatics is touch, obviously, right? And touch is, you know, I want to say sometimes I feel like touch is the most powerful, because what it is like the skin is the biggest organ in our body. And we receive a lot of subconscious information through our skin. And touch is of utmost importance in our psychological development and the continuation of how we operate in life, right? In just in general. So, you know, a child that is deprived of touch really can develop some inconsistencies, some difficulties in life, right? And they could be even, you know, you can even like energetically love, but just have this distance from people. And so that's what we do in our society a lot, is we kind of, oh yeah, dude, oh yeah. But then like that hug or that touch on the hand, you know, these are things that we don't do. Sometimes it's not appropriate. Sometimes you should ask for consent. But in general, we could actually use a lot more touch. When we want to touch, we need to know in our own hands and in our own body what we're feeling, okay? And then we need to know the difference between I'm touching you for you or I'm touching you for me, right? And that really is a perception thing, right? And then that, you know, that also goes into the whole consent thing and a lot of other aspects. But knowing that difference. So what we're going to do is you're going to close your eyes. Usually we do this in a very soft, darkened room with pillows. And if anybody has heard of Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent work, yeah, I stole this right from her. Absolutely. But I really like it. Because, you know, as a touch therapist, going into that and really beginning to discern the difference between I'm doing this for you and then I'm actually doing this for me, or I'm feeling this in my body, I'm feeling this. So what I want you to hold that object and just feel the object. Don't use it as a tool to touch you, right? So you're not using it to massage you. You're just touching it. You can hold it. You can roll it around. When your mind wants to say, oh, this is for whatever job this is for, see if you can just come back to, I feel the object. Okay? It's a glue stick. I'm supposed to glue with this. You know? It's just a round object. So feel all the aspects of that object, no matter how simple it is or how complicated it is. And then slowly see if you can begin to just discern it on your skin. This is kind of hard to explain and sometimes hard to get to. Oh, I feel the leather, I feel the poke. Wait a minute, now I'm feeling I'm feeling this sensation on my skin. So it's a real perceptual shift. Some people get it right away, some people don't. Slow it down. If you think you're touching this slowly, slow it down even more. Slow and subtle. Come into your coherent breathing. Just another couple minutes here. I love some of the objects people have. Just slowly coming back into the space here. And again, kind of popcorn style, what was your experience of this? Medium to short answers, or none?
I felt like when I was touching the object with 2 hands, I felt the sensation of my own hands touching my own hand.
Okay.
Through the object.
Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense, right? Touching your own self. Yes, and then we would translate this into touching and self-pleasuring and, you know, this kind of thing. We can do that with each other. It is a really good tool that I don't always use, but just taking 5 or 10 minutes a day to just kind of like keep this very simple practice, and you can continue to heighten that awareness, right? It's kind of a meditation, depends on what you're using. Actually, that reminds me, what time is it?
11:05.
11:05. Good, we're good, we got a long time. How's everyone feeling? Okay. Yeah. Any questions at this point? Discussions, ideas?
I have a question.
Okay, one over here first?
Okay, are there, like escalations to what you just did?
Yes.
Okay, is that just that, some emotional, because now we make it full contact.
No, there's ones that you continue to do for yourself, but then working in dyads and beginning to, learning how to ask, may I touch you? And, or how would you like me to touch you? And there are different levels like that. And then of course it goes into things like boxy massage and, these are fun things. That'll be next year. Or come see me later. Here, there was a question here.
So
also began to notice when I'm touching it and parts of it were for me, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it's not for me. So, so I think that may have been what got me to be a little bit emotional, because it's like, okay, get back to present and get back to touching. But, so I wanted to know what was the point of the exercise, but I think you kind of.
Well, the point of the exercise is to sensitize your hand. I mean, this is literally sensitizing your hands for touch and beginning to discern the difference between what it's like to touch for somebody else and what it's like to touch for yourself.
This reminds me a lot of sensate focus that we use. Yeah, exactly. But I want to point out the fact that in sensate focus, we don't always focus on touching something other than our bodies first. And so it was just striking me as incredibly important to do this first, right? Because when you start engaging with someone else's body, a lot of other people, you often have to make meaning of it because it's another person, right? But when you can focus on the sensations of an object, you really get that opportunity to delve into like, what is this like for me to do this for me, instead of me to like try to please you. And I was thinking about how.
I can hear you.
No, you're good. I can do this for a second. How like innately anti-capitalist it is to like touch something with no thought to its purpose, right? Like you do not need to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You do not need to have a usefulness. You do not need to have a purpose in order for me to enjoy you and take great meaning from your existence. And that felt really good to me. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Y'all smart. Yes.
I don't have great language to describe this, but I find a difference when I'm touching something and kind of visualizing it in my head versus when I'm not. Not that either one is good or bad, they're just really different. And I was wondering if you had like language that you use to talk about that, or if you use those different kind of mindsets for different purposes.
Yes, okay, so if you want to be really present in the moment, you would stop the visualization.
Yeah.
You don't stop the visualization. What you do is you just bring more energy to the moment of the touch, the feeling, that experience in your body, that sensation, you know?
Yeah.
And, what else was I gonna say about that? I think what you're talking about, and then tying into what you were talking about, and that if you're like myself, you know, being a touch therapist for so many years, everything was focused in towards that person, right? Hey, I'm getting paid to give you a massage. It's about you, right? When you come into like where the practices of sensate focus were developed, it's about learning how to have a relationship with your body. So one of the things that I do also is I'm a surrogate partner. And in that, it has to be about me too, as well. It has to be about me as well, right? Because if that person is going to learn whatever it is they've come in to learn, they can't learn it in that sort of therapist client model. They have to learn it in we are equals model. And if I don't know my own fucking body, and I don't know how to ask for what I want, how in the hell can I teach that person how to do the same thing, right? If I'm in a partnership and my partner says, well, what do you like? And I can't say what that is, right? They're gonna be frustrated and I'm gonna be frustrated, and vice versa. It just gets really frustrating when you don't know what you need and what you want. And so it's okay to be selfish as fuck and learn about your body. It is imperative, okay? So these are very simple practices that, yes, can be built up. They can get more complex. There's lots of levels of going and going, but just these simple things: coherent breathing, the pelvic clock, the touch, the sensate focus touch, the object touch. You know, I don't have a damn name for that. figure that out. When I was teaching massage, you know, I would do these moves and stuff, and I had this one particular person who was like kind of this fan, and she goes, "You gotta name these things. You gotta name these things. That's the bicycle." You know, or, I just like doing it. It's harder to explain it. All right, so we're going to do one more practice, one more tool, one more thing. And this is more in the realm of what I would call mindfulness, okay? It's, it's not moving, but if you're willing to stand up and do this on your feet, it's a good thing. If you're willing to do it in bare feet or stocking feet, it's even better. If you desire or need to sit down, it's totally okay. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to actually talk you through this meditation. I call it the toroidal field. What do I call it? Bicycle. So I'll just get, does everybody know what a toroidal field is? No. Okay, so basically you can just visualize it as the flow of anything. We'll just, at this moment we'll call it energy, okay? Going up and up or down, it doesn't really matter which direction it's going, but going in and out, in and out, in and out like this. But what I want you to try to do is think about that all the way around. And we're going to just use the body right now, okay? We're actually going to use the body and the body of the earth. So just come into a comfortable standing or sitting position, having your feet connected to the floor, to the ground, to the earth. Taking a couple of good breaths, a couple of good deep breaths, and letting it go, and then coming into basically the coherent breathing. Don't count the fucking breaths, okay? That's just going to confuse you. Just elongate your inhale and your exhale, and try to just keep it going without pauses, okay? Bringing your awareness into your pelvis. We do a lot of work with the pelvis because I like pelvises. I also like Elvis. Dad joke. Okay, let's get serious now. All right. Coming back in, come into the floor of the pelvis. If you're moving slightly, it's okay. And what I want you to do is imagine or shoot a line down from the floor of your pelvis through your inner thighs, down into the arches of your feet. And imagine that line moving through the earth, through the crust of the earth. Every exhale going a little deeper. Until at some point you come into the very center of the earth and somehow or another connect to that. Be like roots or any other kind of visualization that comes up for you. Just a good sensation of being firmly rooted right to the center of the earth. Then slowly visualize, feel that energy of the center of the earth coming up through that line, coming up into the soles of your feet, coming up through your inner thighs, going right into the bowl of the pelvis, the floor of the pelvis. And this is where just these very subtle pelvic clock, the pelvic movement can actually enhance the sensation. You're not belly dancing. You're just allowing for more space, more fluidity, more awareness. And continuing that energy all the way up through the belly, into the solar plexus. All the way up into the heart space. See if you notice any changes. It doesn't matter, just noticing into the throat, and the jaw, the back of the throat. Up into that space, right between and right behind your eyes, pineal gland, third eye, neofrontal cortex. And then that energy continues up and out through the crown of your head. Just connects into whatever that is up there, the universal mind, God, energy, cosmos. Just feel this line. Maybe it's pulsing back and forth, up and down. Maybe it's just a very still stream or solid stream moving in one direction. And then begin to let that energetic begin to fall out and rain out in all around your body, 360 degrees. It can be colored, you can feel it in any way. It's different for everybody, but imagining that raining down, coming in and down and around and through your body, all the way back down to that place where you're rooted into the earth. Just feel what's happening in your body. Sensations, images, colors. Without judgment, without expectation, without valuation. And then for the next few breaths, see if you can begin to expand this toroidal field so that at some point it encompasses the whole earth, the whole globe. And maybe it continues to expand. I'm just going to take a few more breaths in this place. Imagining, feeling, sensing our total interconnectedness to everything. So now to close, we're going to just bring this energetic back into our bodies. Slowly shrink that energetic. Visualize coming back into the body. Taking 3 slow, deep breaths. yourself to come back into the room, and your eyes open. So again, let's go popcorn style. What was your experience of that? Any questions? Mostly what was your experience, and then we get any questions.
I feel more loose, like free. And I noticed, at first I was kind of like, I don't know, my back was bending over and I was just like, okay, I'm doing this exercise. And then eventually like my posture got better and something kind of unexpected happened. I felt more powerful throughout it and my body got warmer, which is cool because I'm naturally a cold-natured person. I'm always cold, but now I just feel warm, powerful, and loose.
Excellent. Warm, powerful, and loose. My kind of person. Savage. I would put a word savage in there too. I like savage. Primal. So where is everybody? How's everybody feeling? Did we all go to sleep? Is that too much? Not enough? We need to get up and do some like ecstatic things. I guess I did my job, everybody. So what I'd like to do now sort of depends on where everybody's feeling, what everybody's feeling here. I'd like to get into dyads or triads, just smaller groups, and get some utensils and use some of these tools that we just learned and come into some play and just see how it enhances or has enhanced your experience of whatever it is that you're asking for. Is that something that people are in agreement with? Would you like to do that? So gather up in whether you want to sit on the floor, bring your chairs together, and if you don't want to do this, you don't have to, obviously, right? You can say like, no, I don't want to do it. You don't want anybody to touch you. Make sure you have consent, right? Make sure you're with a group of people or a person that live good with you. Find a utensil. There are some utensils here on the table. There are some utensils that have disappeared.
No, you're good.
You're going to take that one? So, I only have so many things, but if you have some things yourself, that's awesome. This is not.
This was a great class. Thank you so much. Yeah, nice to meet you.
My daughter's name is yeah, so email me and then I have a Google Doc Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, okay, like, the non-verbal issue, that held memory, right? And then how that manifests in our kids, in our desires.
That's kind of what I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah, like read the book. Find something. This oh, y'all got domed. All right, I got a little sidetracked here. Sorry about that. So the assignment is to play with each other a little bit. Play with each other using these instruments with consent, obviously, and using the tools or some of the tools that you learned today, and just explore what you're experiencing. What it hasn't. I had a lot of coffee. I haven't eaten enough breakfast and I've had too much coffee. Anyway, just notice how it changes your experience of any of this play, okay? So and the idea is that when we take it into a play space or an intimate session with anybody, that we can actually expand our experience of that and deepen our exploration, and we can have more fun and hopefully better sex. And if you're having great sex, what do you do with that?
Oh, it can get better.
I like it. So are there any questions about that? Anyway, I was showing you this. So that's really small. You could do something. It's also good. And then there's the other side. This is actually forced. Yeah, like you put it around two, generally the back, so that they can't move.
No, I'm supposed to be the performer.
Yeah, or asking for like being able to
Right.
say.
Right.
His name is Workshop.
immediately know that.
Yeah, what's that sensation? Sensory,
Yeah.
like drawing. You're the second workshop presenter that has mentioned her stuff. Is it really? Like doing trainings.
Okay, that was
The woman that I trained with. Why am I not? Susan Kink, that's the word. She just wrote a song.
constraints at all.
I mean, this. What it does is it
What basically what you said.
I got a fan. That's right.
I'm trying to get out there. You cannot time.
At my church camp. I did it because that's what you said. That is what you
Here in Georgia.
I did all that. I did all
Okay. Yeah, we're talking. So let's kind of keep the talking at least in a little bit of a low roar so everybody can kind of have their experience in their space. Keep the talking if there's any questions, any comments, any. I do. So I'm gonna actually. I wish I had a notebook. I don't have a notebook. But. Well, so I actually have this packet that I didn't have enough for everybody, but I have an expanded one, and I'm actually going to expand it more. So I have like the coherent breathing written out, and I have the 21 breath written out, and I have more deeper. I have more information and deeper explanations. That's what I'm doing. But what's going to have to happen, because, you know, being organized and stuff, is give me your email and your name, and then I will send you a link to a Google Doc that probably will be in a slideshow. If you want more information, also I have a booth out here, Somatic Pleasure Coaching. Stop on by and talk, and you can sign up and give me your money. I'm just going to leave it up here on the table, and you can fill it out here.
Still recording.